Hello and welcome to the two-man power trip of wrestling. I'm your host, JP John Paz. With me today, very special guest, former WWE superstar, former WWE 24/7 champion, king of trios Chikara, tournament winner back in the day. Of course, he's Mr. Lince Dorado. Lince, LD, welcome to the two-man power trip. How you doing?
LD, the Lucha Lip is in the house. What's up, everybody? Welcome, and thank you for having me, good brother.
So what's going on in your world? What have you been up to?
Everything, man. I'm back on the wrestling scene. I'm back in the pride land known as independent wrestling, which has been very interesting lately, and good and bad. But I'm doing a lot of things. Honestly, I'm writing books. I have 4 books I'm currently writing.
Wow.
2 children's books and 2 wrestling inspired books. One being an auto and one being a kind of like a satire of what I thought wrestling is from now my point of view. So it's going to be pretty funny when that comes out. And I'm also producing a comic book, a children's graphic novel. I'll be producing some children's cartoon shows, some shows, some mini films that I'm working on for myself creatively, and I'm hoping to be opening up a school pretty soon, a lucha libre school. I got a lot of things. I have a lot of ambition, a lot of ambition. I know my girl right now is like little stressed because I keep telling her every day, babe, I think I want to do this. I think I want to do that. But she knows that when I say something, I'm going to do it. So it's not just a matter of like, oh, here he goes, adding another thing to stress me out about. She knows I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it the best to my ability, 100%. And it's going to be awesome no matter what I do. And I got a lot of things coming up. And you guys will stay tuned and watch out.
Man, talk about ambition. You got all these books and comic books. Wow. Are you creatively like free? It's almost like you exploded now.
Yeah, well, so like, yeah, I mean, I'm creatively free. I don't have to answer to anybody else besides myself. I'm my own boss again. I own my own name. I'm my own brand. So everything is just me now, which is like a really good lift off of my shoulders. And yeah, I have a couple partners that I'll be partnering with in order to do certain things, but a lot of this will be just me, driven by me, powered by me, and I'm looking forward to just finally just being creative and finally, showing the world what I can do inside and outside the ring because I have so much to offer. I know I do. I know I have so much to offer. I know I'm not done yet. I know I feel good. I feel great. My body feels amazing. Like I just feel like this is the what I needed. After 6 years in WWE, this is exactly what I needed. It was a fresh start. Um, as an artist, a blank slate, blank canvas to just do whatever I want and create whatever I want without having to answer to anybody. I'm looking forward to it.
Weird question, but when you own your name, how does WWE use it? They license it from you, technically, because you
Yeah,
own the name, right? You had it first,
yeah.
of course.
I had
Um,
it first. I was the original and only Lince Dorado.
yep.
Um, and they've been super awesome with when it came to legal stuff, when it came to the name and not having to change it. Super respectful about everything. They never try to go behind my back and steal the name. Um, they never made it difficult for me to be Lince Dorado after WWE. So yeah, it was a pretty easy, smooth transition from it being my IP and then leaving WWE, still having it as my IP. So we're right now in the process. I'm in the process with some of my teammates, not wrestling teammates, but like my group of people who I put around me, to get some other stuff going in the works that we want trademark and want to protect for our brand, for my brand.
When you did get released, were you one of the guys who were like almost happy to get released? Because it seems like you had so much stuff on the burner, so much stuff on the fire. It's like, man, once I get out of here, I got so much to do.
Well, yeah, I think when I asked for my release, me and Grandmaster League, when we asked for our release in September or October, I forget what it was. I think it was September. Um, I went into it 2 things. I was like, man, I don't really have a plan, but I know I've been poor, I've been homeless, I've been broke. I'll be fine. I've always been fine. Like I look forward to all the challenges in my life. So this new adventure of leaving something that I was so comfortable in needed to be done for me personally. I needed to leave. And yeah, I was looking forward to it. I was looking forward to a lot of things. I was looking forward to, again, being my own boss, being creative, saying things how I wanted to say it, being how I wanted to be, dress how I wanted to dress, represent lucha libre how I wanted to represent it, not how you know. And again, I'm not saying that they did, but like, you know, I want to put my flavor on it. I don't want to ride off of somebody's idea. Like, I want to fail on my own. And you know, that's why I had asked for my release. I just felt like I was complacent. I felt like I was just floating. I wasn't progressing creatively. I just didn't like my position. I just needed a change. And as much as it's scary, and as much as I left, you know, how much money on the table and how much time I had left on my contract, I just it wasn't worth it to me. I needed that peace of mind of being free and being creatively free, you know.
And how do they deal with that when you actually release? Because seems like sometimes they don't, not happy about it. I guess would be an easy way to just say. Sometimes they seem like they're okay with it. Sometimes they're can be bitter about it.
I think, like I said, me and Grandmaster League all had a really, really good relationship with a lot of the upper hand, either when it came to Vince McMahon or if it came to John Laurinaitis. Like, we talked to them like if I was talking to you. You know, I don't believe in ass kissing. I don't believe in, you know, if we're two grown ass men talking, we're going to talk as grown men. You know, I don't feel like I need to cower or, you know, little myself in order to talk to you because you're in a higher position. Like, my goal has always been to make it a WWE, and once I did it, nobody could take that away. You know, my problem was I didn't have a goal after I made it to WWE, and that's where I started to get complacent in myself. So when I had asked for our release, you know, yeah, we try to compromise, which I think is a very important word in pro wrestling that a lot of pro wrestlers need to start doing more. And I think that'll help them become better businessmen is the word compromise. And we try to compromise, WWE try to compromise, me and Grand Metalik try to compromise. But at the end of the day, you know, if this is the best you got, this sucks. I'm sorry. Like, we're better than this. Like, we're talented in the ring. We know we could be talented outside the ring, but if this is what you want us to be, like, you could find two other mask guys to do that and let us, you know, just have fun and let us do us. You know, we had 2 years left on our contract and left a lot of money, more money than I'll probably ever see in my life. But again, my happiness and my sanity is priceless, you know? So, and again, it had nothing to do with one person or a group of people or one company. It just creatively, it wasn't fulfilled, and I'm looking forward to finding what finally fulfills me, you know, in pro wrestling.
When you say compromise, what do you mean by that? Like exactly, some of the guys creatively, they just argue, or they won't stick up for themselves. What do you mean by that?
I think a little bit of both. I think most of the time you'll get that second part where they just uh what did you say? You said they argue or they what?
Or they'll basically just give in to whatever the guy
Exactly.
wants.
Yeah, exactly. They make it work. They just and okay, there's nothing wrong with that, right? If you're gonna go into it like, okay, well, this is what they got. I'm gonna make it 100% awesome. Great, but then don't complain afterwards. Like, you know what I'm saying? Compromise, come up with ideas that will help, you know, benefit both them and you. Because at the end of the day, I think a lot of us only think about ourselves and forget like it's either a company we're working for or the professional wrestling business itself. You know, we need to, you know, keep afloat. But that word is so important. Compromise, man. Like, even my kids, when I have an argument with them, like, I never yell at my kids. I've never grabbed my kids. I'm never physical with them. We always have great conversations. And I'm saying, what's the compromise here? Like, you know, okay, you left your toys out. I've asked you not to do it. We need a compromise so it doesn't happen again. It's a great, powerful word. And it works in wrestling when it's like, okay, well, I don't like this line. Can I say it this way? And they say, maybe not. Well, what's the compromise there? There isn't. They're just trying to bully you. But it's never like that. Nobody ever tries to put their spin on it, you know? And then if they do, there's the ones that become successful. And if they don't, they're the ones that become complacent and sometimes bitter. But yeah, I always try to compromise, and I know sometimes people could take it as being difficult, but ultimately I want to represent whatever I'm doing the best to my ability. I want it to represent the best product, the best version of whatever we're doing, rather than just, going through the motions. I can't go through the motions in life. I need challenges. I need options. I need things. I need things that will make me want it, rather than just like, well, I'm just showing up.
Right. And that could be a little boring, right? I mean, and not knowing what
Yeah,
you're doing.
it's that's exciting actually, not knowing what you're doing, but not doing anything or doing the same thing over and over again, that gets boring. Like, and it's not like we weren't sitting there doing nothing. We came up with pitches, we had PowerPoints, we had videos that we presented, we had ideas, but yeah, just disconnect. There was a culture disconnect that they just didn't understand why we wanted to do it, or they didn't understand why or how it could be successful, among other reasons.
When you pitch, who do you pitch it to? Like Bruce and Christine Lebrano, Vince. Like who's the person you pitch to?
For sure. I mean, okay, so obviously the chain of command is your writer. I'll be very honest. I had maybe two writers. I'll put three just in case, but three writers out of total of 12. My whole 6 years, 12 writers. I counted, I even wrote it in my book that I'm writing.
Hmm.
About three writers that were probably on point. Like they knew exactly what they wanted. They were great writers. They understood wrestling. They understood entertainment. They understood the culture. They understood their job. Um, but other than that, the other ones I just didn't trust. I just didn't see their drive. I saw them prioritize other things, especially when they're talking, to your face, and you can see them thinking about other things, and you're getting frustrated because they're distracted. But honestly, whenever we had an issue or whenever we had an idea, we always went right to the man, Vince McMahon or Bruce Pritchard or John Laurinaitis. Like I wasn't going to entertain the idea of talking to writers who may not be here in 6 months or 3 months, or they may move to NXT, or they may move back to SmackDown, or they may just go to the office. Like I'm not going to entertain those guys because I'm wasting my time there, and my time there is precious. I need to go right to the source, and that's what we always did whenever we had an issue or had an idea.
When
And
you
most of the time, honestly, most of the time it was my ass talking. I was the one with, not saying that we didn't have a backbone. Grandma Talik spoke decent enough English that it impressed Vince to have Vince say, "Oh, you're learning English." And I made sure that, yeah, he's learning English. Look, he's just not a dude doing moves, and I'm just not a dude just, part of this group. Like we could talk, we can actually do things. And yeah, we always had I always stood on my own 2 feet, talked to him just like I'm talking to you. Never cowered. I don't believe in it. And those are the people I always talk to.
when you do the pitch and stuff, what is like the reaction from them though? Do they say, "Oh, we're going to take this and do something with it," or they're combative? Like, what's their reaction?
I think sometimes, never combative for sure. I think sometimes it could come off as genuine where they look interested. Sometimes you could tell like they're just like nodding their head and just like getting me out of their face, like, as fast as I can, kind of thing. Um, One of the coolest things I will say that I've ever seen, and I've never seen this from a writer, I've only seen this from Vince McMahon. Um, I had a conversation, me, Kalisto, Samurai del Sol, and Mascara Dorada, uh, Grand Metalik, where we're having a conversation. I'm talking to Vince, and he's kind of giving me the same thing where he's like nodding and like just agreeing just to kind of get through the conversation. But then all of a sudden, I think we had said something interesting to him. And I remember reading Jericho's book, and he was like, never talk to Vince when he's eating. He's never going to be interested. And if you ever see him pick up a pen and a pad, like he's probably really interested. So at this point, we're talking, and he's kind of giving us the like, he's going along with the flow. But then all of a sudden, he picks up a pen and a pad. And I just remember, going back in Jericho's book, like, oh shit, like he's interested in what we're saying. Now we can't lose him. Like we got him here. Like now, that was the moment when he picked up the pad and pen and started writing our notes from what we were talking about. that's when I knew, like, okay, we're not just lucha guys to him. Like we could be something special. Like we're interested in enough that number one, we're not like being cowards and not trying to pitch ideas, but we're also here talking to him with like our balls in our hand and saying, "Hey, man, like let it our ball, put the ball in our court. Let us do this and let us do that. Let us, entertain. Let us be superstars." Uh, but yeah, I just priorities. We weren't a priority, I think.
What was he writing down though? What was so interesting? Was it the Lucha House Party thing?
So I this particular moment, I know we had talked about so the original Lucha House Party concept was actually a little bit harder, a little bit darker. We were supposed to be in suits the whole time. We wanted to have this like Lucha Lounge esque kind of background where it was totally different. Like we didn't want to be in our gear. We didn't want to be in the flashy colors. Like we wanted to look like sophisticated men. The only difference is like our faces have masks. And we kept telling them that, like, we kept telling them we do everything that every normal person does. We go grocery shopping, sneaker shopping, we go to the mall, everything we do, we just do it in our masks. We don't do it in our gear. That's silly. Then we only wrestle in our gear. I don't think I'm really a cat, but I'm agile like a cat. That's the influences. And when we started explaining that to him, he kind of started to understand more the culture of lucha libre rather than like, oh, these are just guys in masks who do incredible things. And we had told him, hey, let us wear suits in our promos. Let us cut promos like those old Santo movies where they're almost like little action movies.
Yeah.
I had pitched for us to be like Charlie's Angels, where we all had a specific personality, but like we were all entertaining and always do cool stuff. And then once we got to me and Grand Metalik, I said, well, look, we have a cool dynamic here where we could be like Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan from Rush Hour, where we could always have like incredible action stuff, but also put each other in cool dynamics. We had all these ideas, and that for some reason we were just the lucha guys. Like, hey, every promo finished with lucha lucha. And I'd just be like, come on, man, like, is this really what you got for us? Like, I don't know.
So, like, he wrote it down. He was interested, but it just didn't translate to what you guys wanted, basically.
I think too what the problem was pitching during the show day. So like we did get a chance to like really sit down with him, good 30 minutes, but really that whole day he's thinking of that show, whether it's Raw or SmackDown or that pay-per-view. And it's just hard to really communicate what you really want and have it be consistently on his mind. So you would have to like literally show up next week and pitch the same idea, and hopefully he remembers, or pitch it to a writer and hopefully he has the balls enough to go to him and be like, hey, I have this idea. And like there's just none of that. So it's like you just have to be very consistent. You have to be a priority. You just got to be a priority.
Is he a hard man to get a hold of? Because I've heard many stories from many different wrestlers saying that back in the day it was easier. You can get one-on-one time with him. Now it's harder. Maybe you have to wait online, or maybe you have to go through a process or go through somebody else. Like he's not as accessible as he was, in the Hogan era or something like that.
I mean, obviously, yeah, I think he was more accessible back then. He's still accessible right now. Like you just got to know the times, right? On show days, it's a very limited a time that you're going to be able to talk to him because he's got a schedule, and you just got to respect that as a man. Like he's just got a schedule. Everybody has a schedule. He has a specific amount of time that he can chit chat with everybody if his schedule allows it. But he is accessible. The problem is some people just don't have the balls enough to go to his door and knock on the door. They're scared for that first interaction where he just says, hey, or come in, or whatever, or maybe he says not right now. Okay, cool. Like accept that and move on. Some people can't accept that as adults, which is like kind of baffling to me. But we would always knock on the door. We would always wait there, even if he would be like, hey, come back in an hour. And I'd be like, no, we're going to wait out here for an hour. I don't want anybody to come in front of me, or I don't want you to like tell me, oh, I wasn't here in an hour. No, I'm going to put myself here and I'm going to wait here. All three of us waited. Every once in a while, all three of us would wait. Some of us would take turns, one go to the bathroom, and but we would always there. Anytime we wanted to talk to him, we did talk to him. And there's probably one or two times that we couldn't. And for whatever reason, we're running out of time. It was, the last minute, or Uh, you know, he was accessible. He's definitely is accessible. More back then, but he's still accessible now.
Is there a line of people waiting to talk to him?
I've seen lines. I've seen very long lines. I've seen very short lines. I've seen no lines. I've seen crazy things go in and out of his locker room or his office, but um, it's nothing like new. Like if you want to go talk to your boss, you got to wait, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
let him finish doing what he's got to do. He's running a multi-million-dollar company, multi-billion-dollar company. Like let him run his shit. Like that's his number one priority is his company. You're a part of the company. Yeah, you're part of it and you're a priority, but the company as a whole is the priority.
Can't even imagine his time management skills. Oh my god, how many people want to talk to him on a daily basis? And like Fox wants to talk to you, NBC wants to, you know what I mean? This guy like Saudi Arabia's on, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
The
and
Prince wants
and
to
you
talk to
know
you. So
it's
it's like,
crazy too because he's got people talking to him at the building. He's got people on his headset. He's got people on his phone. Like I mean, he's getting tugged. Like my dude is getting tugged in all different directions. Um, and again, I think just people need to like just take a deep breath, look at the bigger picture, and just say, okay, well, this dude is busy. Like be
right,
realistic with yourself. All right, this dude
right.
is busy. Let me get to him another time. Like um, I'm not going to get to him now, so I'll get to him another time, or make it a point. I'll talk to TR and be like, hey, please, next week when I come in, we need to go talk to that guy, or I'm going to come in an hour earlier before call time. Can you make sure he's here, or find me a time? It's always an option. There's always an answer. There's always a compromise.
So when you originally got to WB, obviously part of the Cruiserweight Classic, the big tournament, great first outing for that. Well,
Appreciate
how
it.
did you how did you get in though? Like, how did they notice you? Did they notice you from the Indies? Because it's almost like, okay, this guy is really talented. He's a great worker, but how do you like get in the door and how do you get into the cruiserweight class?
For sure. I never did a tryout or anything. I think what actually helped me out was I was doing gear for a lot of the NXT guys, Neville, aka Pac, Sammy Callahan, Solomon Crow, Bailey, Charlotte. And at that time, one of my trainers too, Cesaro, Claudio Castagnoli, he was asked, like, hey, we need some cruiserweight guys. Do you have any recommendations? And since he was, one of my trainers and I lived in the state of Florida, it was kind of a no-brainer. So if it wasn't for guys like Cesaro or Gabe Sapolsky, I wouldn't have been in the Cruiserweight Classic because those were two guys who actually vouched for me, along with Rich Swann, Sammy Callahan, Pac, because I made their gear for them. So I kind of bypassed all that tryout. Thank God. But yeah, that's how I ended up getting in. And I just took my opportunity and I ran with it. I didn't want it to, I didn't know what they wanted. I didn't know what they were going to do. I just thought it was just a tournament. I didn't think they were signing anybody from it. I literally thought it was like content for the network. But I wanted to show up and I wanted to say, well, if you guys aren't going to sign me, somebody else is going to sign me after watching what I'm going to do. So that's what my mentality is going in. Give me 1 second, bro. Let me turn off my oven real quick, please. I just
Yeah.
realized I
Oh
turned
yeah.
it on.
Yeah. No problem.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. No problem. So when you are in the tournament, obviously you beat Ali, you lose to Swan. I mean, two great matches. But do you think at this point, like, there's going to be contracts being signed at all, or you have no idea?
Oh, I was signed after the first round.
Oh, you were? Okay, awesome. So
Mhm.
they see that
So
match, that's great. Then it's like what happens? Johnny Ace or Triple H or somebody's like, "You're signed, you're in, we love it."
no, so okay, so this is actually how it went down. There was about 36 of us, but 32 wrestlers, right? And we had saw probably about 5 or 6 guys actually signed before the Cruiserweight Classic. So we're like, whoa. We all thought it was interesting because we're like, okay, well, they're signing guys before the classic. Well, maybe these are the guys that are gonna be like pushed or whatever, because they're signed guys. And then after the first round, we had this meeting afterwards. After all the rounds, we had a meeting with Triple H, William Regal, all the producers and all that. And they're just going over the show and congratulating us on killing it. and all of that. And then all of a sudden, at the end of the meeting, Triple H and Regal go, well, we're also going to call some names down. And when you hear your name, just come down and we're just going to have a chat. But everybody knew, all right, if you're going to get called down, it's either because they're going to push you or they're going to sign you. So, after the first night, I didn't hear my name. So I kind of was like, oh, well, that kind of sucked. Like I saw a couple guys, Jack Gallagher, Cedric was already signed. They had offered Coda and a bunch of other guys. And, that was on my mind that whole, it was like 4 or 5 weeks. I think it was 4 weeks until the next taping. And I was just like so bothered by it. I was like, damn, I thought me and Ali killed it. I thought, we had a good showing. And, but they didn't offer us anything. And I just remember my boy Swan telling me like, no, guys, they got to sign you. Trust me, they got to sign you. And I'm like, nah, man, don't tell me that. Like, come on. Like, I love you, brother, but you lying. You talking shit right now. Stop lying to me. And then I was making gear for Bailey at my house, my townhouse that I had where I raised my family. 5 people in a townhouse, 2-bedroom house. And I had this little table that was about 2 feet by 2 feet that I would make gear on. And I sat on this like little Tykes chair. Like that was my gear, my table that I would make my gear on. And I remember my phone vibrating while I was making gear, and my phone never vibrates. It's always on silent, And I was like, what is that noise? And I realized it was my phone. And then I saw a 203 number, which is, Connecticut. And I didn't think anything of it. I was like, oh man, like this is spam. Picked up the phone. I'm like, hello? He's like, hi, is this Lince? And I'm like, who's this? It's like Darius or Darian or Darren. I forget what Regal's real name was. I go, who? And he's like, this is Steven Regal from WWE. I said, give me 1 second. Mr. Regal, you got to apologize for my brother. I'm so sorry. How can I help you? And he's like, hey, Lince, this is Mr.
Great.
Regal. Yeah, I completely just told him it was my brother that was being rude.
Yeah.
But I didn't think of it. I thought, it could have been a lie, somebody else, but it said 203 Connecticut. So I was like, well, maybe this is legit.
Right.
And he had asked me like, hey, has anybody, spoke to you about a contract outside of WWE? And at that time, I had spoke with AAA and Lucha Underground. But, I was like, my interest was WWE, Now, mind you, let me backtrack real quick before I finish that story. The first week of CWC was taped on a Thursday. I had wrestled for Impact Wrestling on Tuesday, that same week, the same week prior. Same week. Tuesday, I wrestled Impact. Thursday, I wrestled WWE. That Tuesday, I wrestled Mandrews as Balam. You could go check it out on YouTube. And we had a banger match, awesome match. To the point where Al Snow and I forget the other person, it actually might have been Bruce Pritchard at the time, offered me a contract. And I had turned it down right on the spot because I said, WWE is going to sign me. Like I had confidence in myself that WWE was going to sign me. I hadn't even wrestled for WWE yet, but I was 100% convinced that they were going to sign me. This is before talking to anybody. Like I was like, no, thank you. I really appreciate it. But, I'm going to get signed by WWE. And then, after the first round, I didn't get my name called. And now we're up to the William Regal story, and he's like, well, okay, well, take their offers in consideration, but also know that WWE wants to offer you a contract and we'll talk after the second round. And I said, thank you, hung up the phone. And I was like, well, no matter what. And I was already a teacher at this point, making shit money. But I loved it. I loved teaching. It just wasn't, financially the best job. I said, no matter what, as long as they pay me more than what I was making teaching, I'm taking it. Like no ifs, ands, or buts. I'm going to take it. Like it's my dream. And if it's $1 more than my teaching contract, I'm taking it. And so I wrestled Swan the next round. Awesome match. I love that dude. One of my best friends in the world. And that night, they called me July 27th. I remember 11:26 at night PM. I got called down and I said, yep, give me the piece of paper. I'll sign that bitch right now. And that was it. That was history.
Great recall, great memory on the date and the time and everything. Wow.
Oh, I'll never forget. You never forget certain things. And I have like I'm a math major, so like I have like numbers. Everything is numbers, so I could remember a specific date, what I did that date, what I wore that date, everything.
When they offer you that deal, obviously it's probably a better deal than what you would have gotten from Impact and AAA, I'm guessing.
Actually, I didn't even get to that point where we talked money
Oh,
with
okay.
AAA, and yeah, I just wasn't entertaining the idea. I knew what I wanted to manifest, and I just did it. Like I my goal ever since day one, kindergarten, first grade, was to be a WWE wrestler, or make it to WWE.
Right.
Um, Everything else I just didn't want to entertain. Now I'll entertain because mission accomplished. Now I got to go on to my next goal.
When you do sign, do they give you any indication of like, hey, we're going to do this cruiserweight division on Raw, or do they tell you about 205 Live? Is any of that like brought up or no?
Not really. You know what's funny is that they kind of just said, "Hey, we're doing this thing. We don't know when it's gonna happen, but it's gonna happen." And then like the next week we're watching Raw, and I think Stephanie's saying like, "Yeah, the cruiserweights are gonna come on Raw." So that's when we found out. We found out when Stephanie said it on Raw. And I remember all the cruiserweights texting each other. I was texting Arya Davari and Swan, Tony Nese, and I was like, "Did you guys hear that? Like, are we gonna be on Raw? Like, what's going on? Like, oh my god!" And of course, like we ended up being on Raw as part of the division, and it was awesome. Like you couldn't take away those group of guys that were hungry and passionate about pro wrestling, and tell us like you're gonna be on Raw without us like giving us our all. Like every time we went out there, we gave our all. We left it out there every time. We wanted to have the best matches, no matter what kind of situation we were put in, and you know, it could have been so much more, but yeah, that's when we found out that we were going to be on Raw or part of the 205 division. Um, when Stephanie said it,
Did you like how they branded it purple? Like even the ring rope, sometimes they changed that. Did you like that, or was it weird? Because, like, say WCW on Nitro, some you're watching the cruiserweights, they would never say, "Hey, this is cruiserweights. Let's change the ring." You know what I mean? It's they're a part of the roster. They're going to be wrestling in the same ring with the same ring ropes. Did you ever have a problem with the branding of it, or did you think that was good to make you guys stand out?
hell no, I thought it was cool as hell.
All
The
right,
purple ropes. I
yeah, it was
I
different.
think if it wasn't a pain in the ass for them to change in between matches, like they would have kept it. But I liked it.
Hmm.
It gave eyes, new eyes. It presented us as superstars. Hey, here's a new presentation for this new crop of wrestlers we have. If you're not going to put us with stars to create new stars, right? If you're not going to put us with AJ right away or Roman right away, then yeah, you got to present us as superstars if you want us to be legit or if you want this brand to survive. And by rebranding us that way and like giving us that presentation did make us seem so different. It wasn't just the wrestling and it wasn't the characters. It was like, the overall like presentation. Very similar to like, okay, if you go to a basketball game and you see the Harlem Globetrotters, which we also pitched to be something similar, like they're basketball, right? Everybody knows they're basketball, but they're unique, they're different. They're cool to watch. Now, like watch these guys. These guys are also awesome. That's how I saw it. And I think it just got tiresome when it just got to the point where you had to change the ropes every other match or retape them. Like, there was a hard group of people working very hard to change the ropes and the canvases in between the cruiserweight matches and the regular roster matches. That's why eventually they just said, you know what, forget it. You guys are just wrestling in the same rings that we're wrestling, which I was like, there's no difference. The only difference is the color. So yeah, let's do it.
What was the Harlem Globetrotter picture? That sounds interesting. I like that.
I wanted to be like the Harlem Globetrotters. I waned to be cool.
With Grand
WWE,
Metalik.
yeah, oh yeah, with Grand Metalik and even Kalisto. But we pushed really hard for the Globetrotters idea when it was just us two because the idea was again, you already have wrestlers, you already have other luchadors or Hispanic, but let us be different. Like we're the attraction, like we're the act. Like if you're not going to book us to be competitors in your storyline, book us as an act. And that's what we had said to Harlem Globetrotters, where let us do our cool stuff and entertain, with promotions and stuff like that. Let us have like the cool outfits. Let us have our own little presentation, but be serious about it rather than like here comes the pinata guys. Like, no, that's not what we wanted to do. We despised the pinatas. We hated the pinatas, me and Grand Metalik. I can't speak for Kalisto because I never really asked him, but I know me and him really, really despise the pinatas. The only thing that we really liked was the noisemakers. And I liked them because they were loud and different. Like in WWE, there was nobody that had noisemakers. And I didn't care if they were annoying, like they were cool. Like they were just different. Anything different is cool. And if you think different is like weird or that's just because you're scared of change. You're scared to challenge yourself. I took it and we ran with it. So Harlem Globetrotters one would have been dope. It would have been super dope. We had other pitches along with it, like to expand on that. But that was the overall idea, was just let us be an act and come in, do our thing and get out and have a good lucha time. But yeah, that was my compromise for them wanting us to be just the lucha guys. I said, well, if you're gonna if you want us to be lucha guys, let us be cool lucha guys. Let us be legit lucha guys. Let us be ass kickers. Like, we just don't want to be the guys who do flips. Naturally, that's not me. Like, the presentation you've guys seen of Lince Dorado has always been a fabrication of what I wanted you to see from a luchador, but you've never actually seen the person behind the mask, the real person. And me personally, like, I'm aggressive. I'm stoic violence. Like, I love jujitsu. I love wrestling. I love amateur wrestling. I love grappling. I love combat. Like, I love that feeling. I do love high flying and just make me feel alive. But like, I wanted to be legit and I wanted to be seen legit. And that was my compromise. If y'all didn't want to see me or present me as being legit, then present me as like being a superstar. That's what the Globetrotters came in.
Nice. I think the pinata thing was like, I don't know, I wouldn't say racist or anything like that, but it's almost like so stereotypical, right? When they do stuff like that with the pinata, it's like, I kind of been there, done that. Like, it's too
And it wasn't
stereotypical.
WWE's fault, man. It wasn't WWE's fault.
Oh
I'd
no,
say
okay.
that. Nope, it was not their fault. It was somebody in our group. I'm not gonna say no names,
It was
but
their fault, yeah.
it was a time where, if Vince or somebody thought like it was a good idea, they're gonna run with it. And I remember us being in the prop truck and somebody picked it up and I said, yo, we're about to go in this guy's room, right? Because we had a meeting. And I said, we're about to go in this guy's room. Please don't bring that in. And if you bring it in, don't mention it. Don't even bring attention to it. Let it just be a prop in the background, like appease him for a little bit, right? Like entertain the idea. But like, if we bring attention to it, we're dead in the water. Like, we're gonna come out with it. It's gonna be on our shirts, all this other bullshit. And then as soon as we got in, man, homie looked right at it and it was like, I love it. And I was like, oh my God, no. I said, bro, please look, listen, and then I was like, okay, then let us put weapons in it. Let us be like, let's have a hardcore match or an extreme rules match, but like, let us put weapons in it. Like, so that way when it breaks, like weapons would pop out. And then at least like people would be excited to see a pinata because you never know what will come out of it. But never wanted to do that. And then I had the idea of having the pinata have like a bazooka come out of its ass and showed out like candy or shirts or something.
Yeah.
I said, well, if we're gonna have fun with it, let us have fun with it. Let me get a pinata that shoots shit out of his ass or something. And they're just like, nah, just throw the candy out until we eventually give it to somebody else, which they ended up doing. That's why we stopped throwing out candy. They gave it to somebody else. And I was just like, man, this sucks.
Yeah.
Fuck these pinatas. I'm over it.
Who is the one that pitches you guys being together as the Lucha House Party when they put Kalisto and Grand Metalik with you and you guys do that gimmick?
Me.
Okay, so that's your
Originally
idea.
me. So I was home for about 3 or 4 months, dealing with some other stuff. And when I got back, Kalisto was on 205. He had just lost the title and wasn't really doing anything. And Grand Metalik was in the same spot he was in when I had left for a second when I got sent home for a little bit. And when I got back, I was getting the idea. I didn't know when I was coming back, but I had this idea that was like, well, okay, I knew Kalisto for a while before WWE, and I know he can work. Maybe people don't see his confidence in him talking, but between me and him, we could kill the talking, and between all three of us, we can kill the wrestling. The original idea, like I said, was for us to be a harder version of Lucha House Party. It was actually supposed to be LHP Lucha House Party. We just wanted to be LHP, like stoic luchadors in suits, you know, who were like sophisticated, who were gangsters, who were like the mob, but like taken serious. And I I don't know what happened. Just all of a sudden, they took every idea that we had and just either just said forget it, no, or just didn't entertain it, or like the pinata was just so overpowering that they just turned us into that. And it, yeah, just kind of was like, a little bit of me kind of got mad at myself because I fell into it like, all right, well, if this is what you're gonna do, let me go ahead and do it rather than like fighting back. Like, no, I didn't want to do that. But then once we started to, uh, it started to get better. But again, creatively, it just wasn't enough for me.
When they do the lucha, and all that stuff, are you into it? Or you're kind of like, it's too generic, almost like that. They want us to do that stuff with the music and everything.
Oh no, I mean every promo they wanted us to end with lucha lucha, and I would always tell Metalik, I'd tell him right before we do it, I'd be like, don't do lucha lucha, and be like, okay. Like he would always be on board with me. He just wasn't gonna just go along with the plan. Me and him saw very eye to eye on a lot of things, and we the Lucha Lucha chant I heard the first time through Samurai Del Sol Kalisto before WWE, and we would always be on shows, and that would be his chant. And when we got to WWE and they gave us that music, I kind of felt like we didn't have an identity because of that. And when Kalisto ended up leaving, and we were begging for some music, we had pitched a really cool entrance idea. We wanted to be like UFOs, like, because everything that we did, I remember Vince saying we're out of this world. And I said, well, the only thing out of this world are aliens. And, they're cool. Like, let us have an alien entrance where you
Yeah.
zap us in like Power Rangers. And then now it's lucha time kind of thing. And, the music they gave us was so whack, bro. Just so bad. Like I gave them everything from beats to graphics, everything, and it just like they came back with this like cookie cutter entrance, and I was just like, I was like, man, I'm just not feeling this right now. So both entrances, all three entrances, even my CWC entrance, I didn't like. I said, hey, I came out to this Megadeth Duke Nukem theme, and all they heard was Megadeth, and just gave me this like crazy guitar riff, which was awesome, but just didn't fit me. Like it just don't fit me. And they just again, that's where people not being racist or anything, but they're just like, you're a luchador, so you're gonna have some lucha music. I'm like, man, I don't right now my music isn't lucha at all. Like I come out to Necro's head split. I can't say the first word, but yeah, like it's hard, People I remember seeing a tweet, somebody saying, like, whoa, this is so different. I didn't even know like this guy would even listen to this music. Well, some of y'all don't even know I speak English. I speak perfect English. Uh, but at the end of the day, just gotta ask. Just gotta ask.
I love that Duke Nukem album, but that song is great because there's
Oh
no
yeah.
lyrics. There's just
No, yeah, it's
the beat. Yeah, just the awesome song. Oh, occasionally you get Duke Nukem saying like, "Come get some" or
let's
something,
rock.
but yeah,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
"Let's rock." Do do do
I love
do.
Duke Nukem
Yeah,
though. Duke Nukem
yeah.
was the best game. Like I loved all those games.
Surprised they haven't turned that into like some big budget movie, just because it's such a cool thing they could do with the aliens and
I don't
those
know, man.
pig
They
things and
spent
everything
so
else.
much money on that last Duke Nukem game that spent like 13, 15 years to make. Like I don't know if they interested in entertaining that idea anymore.
Such
They
a
should
great
though.
gimmick. It's such a great
Hell yeah.
character. Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. I think I got their OG games back here in
Oh
my
yeah, I
case
have
back
them. Yeah,
here.
I still have them somewhere. I love that. Oh,
Hell
and
yeah.
that album is awesome. There's so much good stuff on it.
Yeah, and that's where I found that song, like because of that album. Serpentico showed me that album. We like mixing some music on the road, and I remember like just flipping through a CD one day, and I just remember hearing it, and I was like, man, this is kind of a dope. This would be a dope entrance theme, and I ended up using it on the Indies for my last like 3 years before I left to WWE.
Yeah, damn, that's pretty cool. But of course, they give you some generic music, and it's like, man, they always
I
seem
just
to do
remember
that.
in CWC, I said, please don't give me no generic lucha music. And then the first thing they gave me is like a ripoff of Super Crazies. And I'm like, all right, whatever.
They don't listen. Damn.
Nah.
When you're there, though, are you thinking like the 205 thing? Is that like a good idea to you? Do you like it because you guys are getting your own show, you're getting showcased? Then you have a couple title matches with Neville, which were great. It's like, are you feeling good at that point though about 205 and about the cruiserweights?
I think the division, yeah. I think overall, I see, there was a lot of interest from not only management, but man, we would have sellout curtains like for the guys who stayed late to watch the show or who had the dark match, and they would always like love our matches. So there was a lot of interest, and I knew that we were going to stick around for a little bit because everybody was either getting help from the cruiserweights, like the cruiserweights were training some of the girls, or they showing some moves to like some of the other guys when it came to like pay-per-view matches or whatever. Like I knew we were going to be around for a while. I think when we moved to NXT, uh, like that phase, that's when I started to be like, okay, well, I feel like this is about to fizzle out as the roster's not the same, the passion and drive's not the same, and the atmosphere is not the same. It just looks like everything else that WWE, is putting out. So that's when I started to realize, like, oh man, this is about to end. And I think one of my last runs in NXT when I was doing SmackDown or Raw, when me and Grand Metalik went back, we saw that and we couldn't recognize anybody on the roster. Like we knew everybody, but we couldn't recognize anybody besides Arya and Tony, who were the OGs of the 205 division. But yeah, we saw it as a good idea. I mean, we saw it as a good, showcase for all of us. Um, Again, every match was a banger. There was everybody left it out in the ring, and everybody knew the work ethic that went into being a 205er, and they appreciated it. The fans appreciated it. More people should have appreciated it, but the most important people that were important to us did. So that's all that matters.
So you could almost sense it, like, okay, the level of importance, the ring ropes, everything, and then slowly everything gets taken away, trickle down, then it goes to NXT. You can almost sense it. It's like, yeah, they're not really pushing it as
Yeah,
much
it's
as
not
they
the
used to.
toy. It's not the new toy anymore.
Yeah.
It's not the new idea. It's not. I think also too, with a lot of us being not a made WWE idea, it kind of is like, well, let them just do their thing, and then we'll fizzle this idea out once we get content or whatever. I don't know what the mindset is, but that's just how I saw it. And but you could, as a performer, as an original, like you could definitely tell, like the priority was no longer there. Probably after the move to NXT.
Did you guys see when like they put the Lucha House Party together? Is there any sort of like, hey, we're going to get a push, or any sort of talk, or they don't really talk in those terms?
I think the only idea that we considered to be a push was when we had got asked to go to Raw. I thought it was really random that we had just wrestled on 205. I believe it was on a Tuesday after SmackDown, and then instead of leaving on Monday, we're leaving on a Sunday, and we're just not understanding why. We all start to text each other like, oh, what are they telling you? Like, then you start to text all the other wrestlers like, is anybody else going to Raw? Is it just us? And then they start to ask and question, like, so it started, we kind of like made it worse than probably we should have. But the only indication of what we considered to be a push was, yeah, our introduction to Raw, because we were with Revival and they had showcased us as, Lucha House Party, the Lucha House rules. So we had something very unique to us, and as much as people were like hating on the idea, like, oh, this is just a handicap match, we loved wrestling Revival. We always had like good rapport with Revival and had awesome banger matches, whether it was on live events or the shows. So even though everybody saw it as a gimmick match, we just still saw it as like, hey, we're working and we're gonna, kill it with each other with whatever time they want. And like, no matter what shitty idea they have, like, we're gonna make it awesome for us. And that's why I loved working with those guys. Like, we always had the same mentality of like, we'll make it work and we'll have people talk about us afterwards. But after that, man, it was just kind of like we were just the spot guys. We were just put in and okay, well, we need guys. We got a fatal 6-way tag match, but we only got 5 teams. All right, put in the Luchas. All right, we got Money in the Bank. We got Elimination Chamber. Put in the Luchas. Like, it just was put in the Luchas. Like, insert Luchas here. And yeah, that got boring very fast.
Deserve better than that, right? You would think.
What's that?
You probably would thought maybe we deserve better than that, just like an insert here kind of guy.
I think we were pitching better ideas than that. I don't want to use those. I don't want to say that we deserve better. because I'll let my actions speak louder than my words, right? But I know what we were pitching and what we were trying to do and what we were doing. We were better than just the insert guys. And everybody would always say it, and they would always say, "Don't worry about what people say online." But yo, they're the ones that support us, you know. And I would always see things like, "Man, give luchas a chance," or "Man, here we go. That you know the luchas are gonna lose, but they're gonna put something awesome on." Like it just was boring. It was boring to the point where even my own kids were like, "I don't watch your matches anymore. I know you're gonna lose." Like that's
Yeah, it's
fucking
not good.
that's silly. Like I don't want to hear
Yeah.
that from my kids. Like so once I started hearing that, that's when I was like, I'm out. Like this sucks.
Yeah, that's crazy because it's like even everybody knows, okay, they're going to put on a great show, but you know they're going to lose and they're not going to advance anywhere storyline wise.
And we would always say that to the producers. I'm like, you guys are like, why do you put us in these spots? Like, you don't help. Like, none of these matches help us. These all are terrible. You're putting more bad heat on the other guys that are beating us because they know why they're beating us. You know, like that's what made it harder for us to really get into our matches with us not having a story or us not like being invested, like just having investment. Like we just insert the luchas here. And yeah, like we said, we were just tired of it.
I remember some random feud. It was like Lars Sullivan was feuding with you guys. It was kind of, I don't know, just a thrown together kind of weird little feud that they had going there for you guys.
Yeah, we didn't want to do that either, and it had nothing to do with Lars. Uh, but we had just did a European tour where we had the one of the biggest pops all tour. Like Europe loved the luchas. Like we even made videos of the luchas go to Europe kind of thing. Like we were just
Mm.
having a great time with it. And then we all got a text message saying, "Hey, you got to go to Money in the Bank. You have a match." And I just had this really bad feeling, like really bad feeling. I was like, I don't like this idea. One, I'm tired, and two, like I just don't like this idea. They hadn't told us what the idea was, but I said, just this does not feel right. Like something is random, and it's gonna make us look bad. And all of a sudden, all those things about Lars came out, from his past, about him saying some racist things or whatever. And, that was kind of more fuel for us to like not want to do what they wanted us to do once they told us, okay, yeah, you're going to be in a three-way or a handicap match with Lars and he's going to kill you guys. And I was like, man, let that. No offense to Lars. I love that dude. He's the nicest dude in the world, one of the nicest dude. But I was like, you think that motherfucker could take all three of us for real? That was always my mindset. I was like, you really think that all three like could take all three of us? No, like this is silly. Like, why are we doing this?
Right.
And then I went back and said, well, you also want me to put my life on the line to somebody who doesn't value people of my color. Like, why would I do that? And again, there was a compromise made, and WWE probably got the better end of the deal. But at the end of the day, I think I won, which to me is ultimately the best. So, yeah, we lasted longer than Lars, and
Yeah.
at the end, I think we were one of his last matches. I think he blew his knee out, unfortunately. But it was just, yeah, that was like one of the other frustrating things. Like this shit just didn't make sense. But again, I don't know. They see small dudes in mass and they're just like, all right, that's the luchas.
And I believe then they split you up from Kalisto because so then it was just you and Metalik as a tag team. Was there any reason to split the group up?
So I believe because one of the last live events, Kalisto got hurt, and when he got back, I think he put it in his head that he wanted to be a single star. Which, hey, more power to you, brother. But we had this idea, me and him, that we were going to feud eventually with each other. Given the circumstances or what was going on, that was going to be our trump card. Was like we were going to feud with each other and like pitch mass versus mass, and maybe me lose my mass and go darker and like finally be me. But when he got hurt and pitched that idea to himself, that kind of just went out the window. And I think WWE was just like, all right, well, why do we need two lucha groups? We just need this one group. And I think that's why they ended up leaving him let go. But yeah, that was it.
When they do that and it's just you and Metalik, then they not really are using you guys as much either, right? I mean, they start using you less, it seemed like.
Well, no, they started using us a little bit more, just a little bit, to the point where, like, yeah, we were showing up and having promos with Riddle, or having this and that with the Hurt Business. Like, we were actually featured to be in the tag team division. But again, we were so already pigeonholed and tarnished that everybody knew that when we go out, it was either going to be a very upset, right? You could tell the style match that we were going to have, or the other people were going to win. So it kind of made our matches uninterested. You know, it just, they were, and they ended up using us a little bit more, especially during pandemic. But again, just not in the capacity that we wanted to do. We still felt like we were being inserted, um, and killing every time that we went out. But it just, yeah, just never. It always felt like to shut us up. Like, all right, here's the lucha check mark for the day. Boom, promo or match or main event or something. So yeah, but they ended up using us.
When they sent you guys down to NXT, obviously you guys are part of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Was that a positive? Like, did you like that? Because you wrestle Imperium, you guys get the win, to lose to Legado del Fantasma. Was that good or bad to be down in NXT, a part of the
Well,
Dusty
we had
Classic?
asked for it.
Oh, you guys asked? Okay, nice.
Yeah. So
All right.
once we split, actually before too, but more once we split, we had emailed Triple H and Regal, and we say, hey, if there's any opportunities to come down to NXT and tear shit up, let us do it. And for a while, nothing, nothing, nothing. And then all of a sudden, Triple H saw us doing nothing, and he had asked Vince, like, hey, can I borrow these guys for a couple weeks in NXT and do some stuff? And that's where, Phantasma and Dorado wrestled in the singles, and then we killed it, and everybody loved it. Everybody loves having the luchas in NXT. So then it just made sense for us to come back to the Dusty Classic, where we had a great showing. We felt like we were the most polished tag team in NXT, because we had that TV time, the main roster time. We got the blend of indie wrestling mixed with TV wrestling or WWE wrestling. Like, we got it. And it was a good thing, because it was our idea. It was a different style, different set of eyes, different rules, right? So it kind of just felt a little bit more free. But at the end of the day, it's still a WWE ring, WWE product.
So, and then obviously after that, I guess you asked for the release, right? That's kind of how it went, basically.
Yeah, I think shortly after that, we were in Boston, I believe. Yeah, I was in Boston, and again, it was just it. We went into Vince's office and management's office about a month before, and we just laid it out on the line. Like, this is what we want. This is what we want to do. We re-signed this contract. Like, we don't want to sit here and get paid. Like, that's not gratifying for me. And we were promised this and that. And, as the weeks went on, we kind of just saw it going to other people, and the writing was on the wall. And instead of waiting the 2 years, we just said, hey, if this is the best you got, like, thank you for the opportunities, but like, we need to part ways.
So obviously it seems like creatively and maybe for your happiness, it was a best thing for you to be released, because it seems like, man, you got so much going on, so much food in the fryer, whatever you want to say. I mean, you got so much going. It seemed like a good thing for you.
It's a great thing. I wish they would have capitalized on it with me. I wish they would have invested the time and energy that I have and wanted to in them, that they would have in my ideas and my projects, because I think in the long run that, like, they didn't create Rey Mysterio. They could have created something awesome with all three of us, with Grand Metalik and myself and Kalisto, but they just, again, it was just a disconnect. But my sanity, my happiness, I just needed that more than anything else. Like, I told myself, I said, once you start thinking of money and start thinking of it as a job, you need to leave, because that's when you're going to lose your passion. And I'm still very passionate about wrestling. I'm still passionate about lucha libre. I'm still passionate about my brand. I'm still passionate about performing. And I just, again, creatively, I just wasn't getting what I wanted.
Are you still making gear? Are you still doing that?
For myself only.
Only, okay.
I'll randomly do it for some of my friends who like are in a pinch, or I'll do like a scholarship. I do a scholarship for each school, where they'll pick a student who's brand new, like no matches underneath their belt or struggling financially, and I'll make their gear for them on the side. But yeah, I don't advertise it. I don't want to make anybody else's gear. It's just too stressful. I like making my own stuff. I like my own stuff being uh what I wanted to do. It looks professionally made. I take a lot of time into my outfits, and now I'm making more clothes. Like I'm doing jackets and robes. I'm doing, things that aren't wrestling gear that I never thought I wanted to do, but now I'm doing it. Like this year I want to make a suit, like I want to make a really good suit. And I'm really close to it. I already got my patterns that I created myself. I already got my fabric. It's just a matter of just sitting down and do it. And I'll probably end up doing it live on my Twitch or something. But yeah, I just want to being creatively free is like, now I'm more stressed about having enough time to do it in my life. Like I want to do everything still, and I still want to wrestle and I still want to raise my family while doing all these things. But having no one say you can't do that or say, no, I won't help you with that helps me out now, like mentally, knowing that it's going to get done. Not, man, I want to get this done kind of thing.
Yeah, very cool. That's awesome. Like, that you could even have the ability to make your own gear. I mean, that's quite a skill.
Oh, yeah. I mean, started 2007, like year two. I just was tired of, being 16, 17 years old, getting charged $400 for, a mask, some tights. And I said, yeah, I can make this for about $100. And that's what I did. I bought my sewing machine for 60, and I bought 2 yards of fabric, or I'm sorry, 4 yards of fabric for like $40, and made my first set of gear. Wasn't great, but, I stuck with it. I could have failed right there and quit right there. But, I knew this is what I wanted to do. So I probably over 500 pieces of gear between masks, tights, gauntlets, jackets, robes, capes, that I've made in the past 15, 17 years. So a lot of it's hard to get rid of. Like somebody had offered me my Power Ranger outfits sitting right next to me. Somebody had offered me 10,000 for it. And I said, no, like it's priceless to me, like at the end of the day, a lot of these items you're paying more for the time, not the item itself. And my time
Right.
is priceless. My time is very valuable to me. And, even when we messaged and talked about, oh, I'm only available 11 to
Yeah.
4,
Yeah.
like I'm, every day. And I've turned down a bunch of interviews because they don't honor that. But, my time is valuable, and the rest of my time is for me and my family. No, nobody else. You know where to find me on the hours that you need me. And I make it
Right.
very apparent for everybody. And I'm not trying to be rude, but again, my time is just valuable. And that's just where I stand on that.
I love that. Very professional. Like, I'm available this time. I mean, if we can make
Yeah.
it happen. Like, I like that. I like the rules. You got to,
Yeah, we'll be
yeah.
right here. I got you. I'll give you
Yeah.
110%, but I'm
Yeah.
only available this time. I'm sorry, but that's it. Like I said, I probably turned down about 25 different interviews because they wanted to do it, on the weekend while I'm wrestling, trying to make money for my family, or they want to do it at night when I'm trying to spend time with my family. And like, no offense, but my family is my number one priority before wrestling now. So
Yep.
I hope everybody who ask for an interview or any part of my time just respects that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the way it should be. But as
I
we start
appreciate
to
it.
wind it down and head towards the finish here, what's next wrestling wise? So, like, what are you going to be doing? Where are you going to be? Is there any places you really want to work?
For sure. Well, I definitely have a lot of cool things coming up. I have Blitzkrieg Pro coming up at the end of the month against Evil Uno, AEW star Evil Uno, a guy I've wrestled with before hundreds of times. So it'll be cool to mix it up with him. I got Expo Lucha at the ECW Arena in June. Everybody who's Lucha will be there. I got Wrestling Revolver in Ohio coming up April 16th. I'll be at WrestleMania weekend in Dallas for WrestleCon, along with some other shows. I got a lot of things coming up. If you guys want to check www.luchalit.com, you can see all my appearances on there. But yeah, I got a lot of things that I'm looking forward to. As far as companies I want to wrestle, man, I just want to wrestle everywhere. I want to show everybody that I can still do this better than anybody, that I love what I do. You'll always have a good time. You'll get your money's worth. Like, I'm always willing to give my heart and my body, not only to my family, but to my fans as well. And, maybe I'll make an impact somewheres, or maybe I'll make my way to a major league wrestling promotion. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Hey, both would sound good, or even some place that's elite. That would be nice too. I could see
Maybe,
wrestling.
maybe.
I
Yeah.
could see wrestling a couple brothers over there. You know, I could see that.
I, I just
Yeah.
want to wrestle. I don't care if you're a brother or sister. I want to wrestle everybody in the world before I'm like, time to call it quits.
Any dream matches, like specific guys, like man, I want to wrestle that guy. It doesn't matter where he is. He's like, is there a guy out there you're like, oh man, oh, I want to wrestle him.
You know what? I just I met my boy Bandito this past weekend, and
Oh
me
yeah,
and
he's
him
great.
clicked it off. Yeah, me and him clicked it off. Like before, we didn't even talk wrestling. We just clicked it off, and then like all of a sudden, like then we started talking wrestling. I was like, man, you're a cool dude. Like we would probably kill it in the ring. But you know, a match I would love to do. I would really, really love to do. I don't care where it's at, because I think the world would be interested in seeing it. Especially if there's like a good story behind it. I would either love to wrestle Samurai, or I would love to wrestle Dorado in a one-on-one match. I think I've wrestled both of them in a singles that, you could probably watch me and Kalisto wrestle. But Dorado, me and him only wrestled one time in NXT at a live event that nobody will ever watch. And it was a lot of fun. And even though we were tamed, like now being free, like I could just imagine what that match might be like. So, but other than that, I mean, I just want to wrestle everybody, like old friends, new friends, people brand new, people who've been around forever. Like, you're not going to get the same Lince you got 10 years ago, even 6 years ago before I got to WWE. You're going to get the man version of me. And that's what I want to represent, is remind people like I'm a man. I'm not just a luchador. I'm a man. I'm a grown ass man, and I have an agenda.
Nice. Any good cards you've got lately? Any good wrestling cards? I randomly got like over the last couple of years. I got Honky. Oh yes. Let's see who I got.
Let's see what we got here.
Oh,
I grabbed some of these. So I went through I met some cool people through PSA and SCG.
yeah.
And man, like I said, I just went on eBay and just was sniping people. So I got this Eddie right here.
Awesome. Nice.
Let me see if yeah, there we go.
Nice. Yep.
Little 10. I also got the EDDY Eddie LWO.
Yes. Nice. Yeah. Pretty cool.
I also got this cool. I opened up some old school WWF cards, and I found this Macho
Yes.
Man.
Yes. I have those.
It's a
Those are awesome.
sticker.
Yeah. I love
Now
those old ones. The old
I
WWF
just
ones.
I need to get this one signed. So if you can help me out, bro.
Oh, damn, that's a good one. The
And this
Undertaker.
one has the signature on the back. Like you get a slot for the signature. So I'm gonna try to get this bitch signed and
Yeah. All right.
put it
Yeah.
in my collection.
Nice.
I got all my other cards. I got all my cards graded as well, but I'm not displaying them. I just want to
Yeah.
display what I want to look at. And I got Pokemon cards up here. That's all I collect: Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and wrestling cards.
Nice. I got randomly like a honky. This is like throughout the years, like Honky Tonk, Brett, and like Ronnie Garvin. But I wanted them all autographed, so I got them all autographed. But it's those old
Oh,
school
nice.
WWF cards. Yeah, they're awesome. For some reason, the Garvin one just tickles me because like I can't believe he got his own card. Like he was never pushed there, but he got his own card. So it's
Hey,
pretty
hey,
pretty
that's
messed up.
that's what makes it more rare then.
Yeah,
When
and
especially those guys who don't get pushed and they get like merch, like really rare merch.
yeah,
That's how it's at.
and my Barry Horowitz I have autographed.
Ooh,
So
nice.
I
That's
was
a
like,
good one.
yeah, just it's so random. It's like, and he's like, I had two cards, and he showed me he actually had another one. I was like, damn. I was like, well, you got a couple of cards. That's awesome. But I don't know. I
I think
just
I have
love
like
collecting some of that stuff.
yeah,
Just
I
the
think I have
random
like
stuff, though.
I think I have 30 cards, but only like maybe 15 different types. Like how they have variants. But yeah,
Yep.
I think my favorite one out of all of mine is my rookie card, my legit rookie card. I think that's the coolest one.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I just love collecting just like some of the random ones, like Garvin and Horowitz. Like they
Yeah.
got to be just. I mean, Brett obviously is the common guy, but just random guys. Like I love Honky Tonk Man. Maybe he's not as random as the other guys, but I just love just the randomness of it.
The
Sometimes, like,
nostalgia
wow,
though. But
yeah,
yeah,
it's really cool.
I like the rare, like I've been collecting some Japanese like FMW cards, like completely random. Like
Yeah.
I wanted a Pegasus Kid and a Chris Benoit and a Sabu, and I found one, like all three of them in the same bundles for super cheap, and I was like, all right, boom, checklist. I'm done. I'm done with this. Like I'm not even like a collector of all this, like the complete set. I just want what I want, kind of thing.
Yeah, just a couple guys. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
For sure. But before we let you go, I know you mentioned Lucha Lit, but give us all the socials and everywhere we can find you plug wise.
Yes, sir. So I'm on Instagram, Lince_Dorado. On there, you can see all my social, my promotionals for shows coming up, any merch drops. If you want to see the real me, go visit me on Twitter, Luchador LD. I'm a little bit more vulgar there, a little bit more, me. But most of my information, everything from my Twitch information or YouTube information, will be on my website, www.luchalit.com. You could also check out on there where I'll be performing. You could check out merch. You could check out some new videos and some more information dropping soon in regards to like sponsorship. So yeah, everything is on there. Check it out. Everything
Awesome.
Lucha.
Good stuff. Fellow New Jersey boy, it's great to have you on. Thank you so much for all
Yes,
the time.
sir. No, man, thank you very much. This was fun. This is better than my last interview I just did. So don't tell him that, though.
Nope. Difficult. Thank you so much.
There we go. No, man, thank you.